Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? This topic is going to be about there is no proof for God. There is this guy named Bill Mayer. I'm going to show you his face. It says this guy, Bill Mayer. You can see him right here. All right. Who is he? So, Bill Mayer is a well known American comedian, political commentator, writer, and TV host. He's famous for mixing comedy with politics, religion, and social commentary, often saying things that spark big debates. And this guest, we all know who he is Charlie Kirk. May he rest in peace and God bless him. And he is with Jesus Christ right now and looking down at us right now. So I got you, Charlie, talking about this debate between Bill Mayer and Charlie Kirk. Video, I got it from YouTube. And the guy, please subscribe to his channel. His name is Jaden Forrest. Who is Jaden Forrest? I'm going to tell you who he is. So, Jaden Forrest is a Christian YouTuber and content creator who makes videos about faith, Christianity, debates about God, and discussions between believers and skeptics. So that's Jaden Forrest. So subscribe to his channel. So let's go to the video. We're going to go right to it.
Do you hope you're wrong?
People always are going to want it. People always are going to want to believe a story. It's much better than the truth, which is that things are random. We don't know the big questions. We don't know how we got here. We don't know why we're here. We don't know how the universe started. We're alone in the universe. You know, is there a God? What is the nature of God? Which one is the right God? We just don't. Nobody knows. I mean, that's why they call it faith.
Do you hope you're wrong? That's the most important question.
That's a great question.
First question is, do we know enough to believe in God? May is saying no. He's really saying no. The honest answer is we don't know. That's what he's saying. Kirk says the world has signs of design. There's signs all over. You look around, there is signs all over. And to believe there is a designer, okay? So the second thing, if God exists, why is there evil and suffering? So those are some of the questions that he's going to be talking about.
How
Do you hope there's a heaven?
I hope they figure out how I can live forever. I like it here with you, Charlie, drinking this and smoking
And
pot.
Fiji,
I'm having a
I'll
great
cheer.
time. I really can't imagine it better. I mean, I can't. And maybe it is. I'm sure it is. I'm sure, you know, people have...
But something in you probably hopes that, I don't know,
Yes.
Hitler gets ultimate judgment, or the most evil things, right? Something in you wants to see your loved ones, and
I don't think about Hitler.
no, but there's got to be a desire
A
somewhere.
lot of people just think about Hitler a lot.
Stalin, Mao.
I know, but I'm just saying Hitler comes up a lot.
Fine.
He really...
Fair enough. Let's that there's a desire that there's something beyond this.
Well,
that is just.
Kirk's argument is objective good and evil need grounding, okay? Maya argues that descent people do not need fear of hell to avoid murder and theft, while Kirk is saying objective good and evil need grounding.
yes, I do. But, I mean, it's very hard to find that justice on earth. Ask an AIDS baby.
No, don't, Bill. That's why when you say, "Hey, I'm happy here," there's a lot of suffering on earth too, and that's the
It is.
That's the Christian argument,
And
right?
some of it is you know, we obviously can see it comes from no bad deed done. You know, children with cancer.
Of course,
And then they say, well, that's, you know, God works in mysterious ways, which is sort of a get out of jail card
It's the
for
hardest-
any kind of non-thinking.
admittedly, it's the hardest. We as Christians have to explain unjust suffering. Atheists have to explain everything else.
How do you explain it?
We don't. It's hard. It's a mystery. We can say God works in mysterious ways. We can say original sin. However, we don't have to explain creation or the miracle of life or love or justice.
We don't have to explain it either because it's not explainable, because we don't know.
If only Bill would understand that God is outside of time. He has nothing to do with this time here. He is totally outside of time. There is no such thing as time, place, and matter when it comes to God. Us as humans, I just get so sad that we are thinkers as humans, and we're thinking way too much when it comes to God, and it's really nothing to think about. You have to see it. The evidence is in front of you. The creation is in front of you. How all this is created, you have to look beyond that and say there is a creator.
We don't know. That's honest. You say, no, somebody told a story a long time ago, and we're going to stick with that. That to me, I'm not trying to be insulting.
You can't offend me, trust me.
Great.
I mean that. So
All
you
right.
could be as crude or as blunt.
Okay.
I love what Charlie Kirk is saying. May he rest in peace. You know, he's with Jesus right now, so he's enjoying life. But he's saying you can't. It's like me. Every time I make a comment on Facebook, people are trying to put me down. You just can't. My faith is too strong. You just really can't. You know, but Bill's argument is human beings hate uncertainty, so they invent stories. Religion is one of those stories. To be honest, it's not, to me, it's not even religious. I follow Jesus. It's that simple. Get that religious thing out of your head. It's not religious. It's following God, following Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, period. That's what it's about. Bill also makes a strong point, right? For those people who don't believe in God and be like, gotcha, right? Bill comes out with a strong point. So what are one of those strong points, right? His main claim is not, I can disprove God. It is more like you don't know or I don't know. And pretending to know is the problem. That is why he keeps saying faith is faith. And then he uses the problem of evil as his emotional and moral hammer. When Kirk talks about being happy here, Bill immediately pivots to suffering. Children with cancer, innocent pain, injustice that never gets resolved. His point is that a loving and all-powerful God looks hard to square with the world we actually inhabit. Okay? And number 3, he thinks religion explanation too often functions like escape hatches. When he mocks God, works in mysterious ways, he is saying that the religious language can become a way to stop thinking rather than continue thinking. He thinks morality can exist without religion. He explicitly says he tries to be a good person because it is good for society and for himself, not because he fears divine punishment. Like, good is good enough. But remember, I hear that all the time. Even people that believe in God and say they believe in Jesus, they say, I'm good. It's good enough. You know, I give $1. That's good enough. You know, I'm happy. I'm a good person. I take care of my family. I mean, it's beyond that, guys. Remember that. It's beyond that.
Is there any part of the Bible you think is true?
Well,
no, it's
true.
an important question.
Well,
meaning, like when they were documenting King David, like was King David a real figure?
There are shards of it that are, I'm sure.
So Jesus was a real person.
Well, that we don't know. That is not a definitive.
Okay,
it really is not.
Like take Paul. We both agree Paul was legit and a real person. Paul was a Jew, persecuted Jews, and then had his, road to Damascus moment. Why would he do that? Except for the fact that he's crazy or like delusional. What incentive would Paul have to do that? Rich, ruling class, gave up everything.
You're saying to me, is there never a case of human delusion or mass delusion or?
He's saying that Paul, who became a follower of Jesus, he's saying that all of a sudden he became delusional. I mean, this guy was rich. He was in charge. He had women. He was prosecuting. He was killing Jews back in those times. And Jesus came to him and blinded him for 3 days. And Jesus spoke to him. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Jesus spoke to him. And when he got his vision back, he knew that Jesus is real. And now he gave up all that wealth, all that luxury that he had to follow Jesus. It's all in the Bible. And this is why I say it's so important to read the Bible so you can better understand what is going on. There is a greater love than just human love. There is a greater love, and that's the higher up, that's God. And we need to be following God and following Jesus because we don't know what is going to happen after we die. We just don't know. But as a true follower of Jesus, I know there is eternal salvation when we worship the Almighty. So let's continue with this video. I'm sorry. I just trying to understand how you guys are thinking.
Why there's suicide cults? Of course there are. No, I acknowledge that.
The capacity, the human capacity to believe what's not true, to believe what you want to believe, is infinite. I mean, you are literally the person I'm talking about at the very beginning of the movie Religulous, because the very first scene, I'm sitting in the car and I'm saying, the movie is not a spiritual quest. I mean, that's what we told them, so they'd sign the release. The movie is me saying, I don't know how it could be that so many intelligent people can wall off a part of their mind and believe in something that part of their mind must know is not true. That's the question I'm going for in religion.
Okay. So Kurt's way of thinking is this. Belief in God is not a blind myth. It's not. We can see it. We see the creation. So we see the miracles, baby being born. We see these miracles happen. Kirk is saying, it is not the most reasonable explanation for design, morality, and meaning. He says in a calmer voice that a lot of people expect it and tries to avoid being baited by Bill mocking. One thing he does well is keep narrowing the debate back to a more basic question. And that is, can I prove every detail of Christianity in 10 seconds? But is there something behind existence at all? Charlie Kirk's strongest point is this. He separates the creator question from the suffering question. This is one of his best moves when Bill says, why all the evil if there's a prime mover? If there's a good God, why all the evil? Kirk basically says that is a serious question, but is a different question from whether there is anything behind existence in the first place. He appeals to fine-tuning and design. His case is that the universe, life, healing, and consciousness and the conditions that allow existence do not feel random luck. He presents this as a cumulative case for design. Again, he presses the morality question when he asks how society determines what is good. He is pushing Bill towards a foundation problems. If morality is not grounded in something ultimate, is it just preference, consciousness, or power?
And like, you're obviously a super smart guy.
And respectfully, you go ahead, sure.
And I don't want to insult you on that. I appreciate you saying that.
No, I mean, Bill, have you seen me go to college campuses? There's nothing that can
but you understand my question, right?
Interestingly, ironically, I have the same struggle. I don't know how somebody as intelligent as you, and I'm not trying to offend you,
cannot believe in a virgin birth?
Time out, hold on. All of that takes faith, I acknowledge, but that all of the fine-tuning of our universe, if any of those fine-tunings were off, a famous scientist...
Some of them are off.
A famous scientist said, to believe that the universe and the earth in its current composition was an act of randomness would believe that a hurricane would go through a junkyard and assemble a 737 flight-ready Boeing.
He's wrong.
Okay, that's fine, but there are so many fine-tuning aspects to our existence that I think defy the idea that this is all randomness and all chance. Now,
you know, that's not logical. You're
well,
saying because I don't know the answer, I'm going to assume the answer must be that a divine intervention did it. That's not really a scientific way of looking at it.
The teleological view, not the cosmological view, is that all of these fine tunings, when layered up one after the other, it defies, I think, reason to think that this is just a roll of the dice. That when you see a baby come into the world, when you see how we naturally heal, even consciousness itself, I think, is a pretty miraculous thing. To think that's all just a bunch of happy accidents, I think it's more rational to think that that's a byproduct of design.
The accusation that Bill Maher made towards Charlie Kirk is often referred to as the God of the Gaps argument. It essentially means we don't know why this thing happened, therefore God. And he's right, that is illogical, it's unscientific. But notice that Charlie Kirk's claim that God exists is not based on the absence of evidence. It's based on positive evidence, namely like the cosmological argument, the fine-tuning, the evidence for the Big Bang. And so Bill is discounting this. And while Charlie Kirk is Christian, he's just advocating for a creator in general. Because notice, Bill was kind of dismissive towards some of these arguments and evidences, talking about the virgin birth or different attributes of the God of the Bible, but we're not quite there yet.
You're saying some prime mover made it so these things happen. I would say if a prime mover could do that, why don't skip all the suffering and why don't you just get us to where we're the perfect thing? Why you need things, I don't know, but okay, the perfect being right away. We're somehow on this journey to being, completely immortal and healthy, I guess, and completely moral.
You know, what Bill is saying is, why don't we become robots? That's what Bill is really saying. Why don't we, as human beings, become robots? Let's just be one kind, robots, and put a command, and that's it. No. God gave us, he loves us so much, he gave us free will. Why don't you understand that? He gave us free will. And if you choose not to believe him, then that's your choice. You choose not to believe God. If you choose to be an atheist, if you choose to be a theist, like you're not sure, if you choose to live the life that you say that you're good, and that's all that matters, that's your choice. But keep in mind, there is something greater than that, especially if you're in between and you're not sure. I'm going to tell you there is something greater than that. That's where I'm trying to get at with you.
And don't f each other up and don't have sex with children and all the bad things we do.
All the evil of our world.
Yeah,
right?
All the evil and the Holocaust. And why go through all that if you are a prime mover? I assume that means you can do anything and just get us right to the end. And then we can just, what? Why? Just a bunch of us walking around being perfect? I mean, why is that interesting to a God? The whole thing just don't make sense.
So that's a separate question, though, of whether or not there is something behind our existence. I mean, so we believe that the universe started with a Big Bang. Do you agree with that?
So notice again, Charlie's going for that modest goal of, is there even a creator? He's not even getting to the God of the Bible yet.
Yeah, but that's not the beginning of things. That's just the beginning of what the known universe is. The big question is what was before that.
And we believe it's a
right.
being, a God. That's
right.
That's always, that's a constant.
And look, I mean, the misnomer about atheism is that we say, oh, there's no God. No, we just say we don't know. As Richard Dawkins always says, there's theism, which is belief in gods. And they used to believe in many, and then it got to one, and we just believe in one less. So there's just not.
How would you differentiate that from agnosticism?
There isn't.
Okay.
That's another thing that's bullshit.
No, I don't. I'm just asking a good faith question.
No, I think a lot of atheists think that. A lot of people on my team with this, they have that view that don't split hairs with the atheists and the agnostics. It's like. We're on some part of, I don't know, and I'll never know, so I really don't think about it a lot. I don't get up for church. I try to be a good person because I just think intrinsically it's good for society. It's good for me to be a good person as much as I can. And I don't need the threat of the pitchfork in the ass to do it.
So Bill threw out the classic atheist slogan, oh, we just believe in one less God. And he's right, but there is a massive difference between 3,000 gods, one God, and zero gods. Because if you have one God, you still have the foundation for the universe, for objective morality, ultimate justice, and a lot of these concepts. But once you take the step over to zero gods, it's really hard to explain how this universe came to be, why we have such strong moral intuitions. And so Charlie Kirk is now going to hone in and focus on the objective morality aspect of this. Let's see how it goes.
Can I ask a question? So how but you even acknowledge, though, that some people act better if they feel as if they'll be judged eternally.
Totally.
Okay, no, that's a big admission. But
yes.
How do you think society best determines what is good?
That's a great question. I mean, isn't that what government is always wrestling with? What makes society good?
Do you think, even as an atheist, the Ten Commandments, the right side of the Ten Commandments is a good place to start?
The right side.
Well, because the left side, I think you'd have a big problem, right?
I have a problem with 8 of the 10 because only 2 of them are laws.
You got a problem with 8 of the 10?
2 of them are laws. Only 2.
What do you mean?
Don't kill.
And don't steal. Okay.
And don't steal.
Sure.
Like, I mean, this idea that...
He only takes 2 of the commandments. You know, don't kill, don't steal. God is only asking you to follow him. Because we are sinners anyway, so we're never going to be perfect. In Bill Mayer and Charlie Kirk debate, Charlie Kirk is basically arguing if there is no God, what makes morality truly binding for everyone? The idea is if there is real moral law, there must be a source above human opinion, and that source is God. That is why many Christians say, followers of Jesus, what they say, without God, you can have moral preferences, but it's harder to explain moral absolute. The pushback from skeptics, someone like Bill, like this guy Bill, would likely say people can still know right from wrong without religion. Empathy, reasons, and society can guide morality. You do not need fear or hell to be a good person. And that is where the real clash happens between Bill and in this debate here. In Charlie's case, morality needs God to be truly objective. In Bill's case, morality can still exist without God.
Just jealous God shit. It's just like, you know what?
No,
God,
honoring your parents is not jealous God stuff.
God's like a pimp who was in the next room and he said, who you on the phone with there, girl? I mean, I guess I'm testing that.
Hold on, but no, it's again, I'm not offendable on this, but I think you could. I know you made fun of it in Religious.
So here you see Bill continually mocking God and making fun of his moral character per se, less so about him not believing in his existence. It's more of that emotional thing for Bill, it at least seems. But now they're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about why the resurrection really matters.
You might get stoned and be like, oh, Jesus, what? Are we kidding? Come back from the dead? No, I'm kidding. This is so Sunday's Easter. What are you going to do? Must be a big day. He is risen.
He is risen indeed, Bill. We're going to be celebrating the resurrection of our Lord.
Why do we say that in the present tense?
Because it is a constant truth in our life.
He is risen. I always noticed that was interesting to me.
That's a really important question, actually.
It is. Tell me.
Well, because the fact that he is risen transcends time. It's not just in the present sense. It's that of all time, that promise is accessible to all of us. And so it's a proclamation to all people. Because if you said, hey, he was risen, it's like it's just merely a historical event. It almost underplays the metaphysics of it.
I'm just always fascinated the way really, really fine intellectual minds.
Jesus is not just a good teacher. Jesus says he is the Son of God with authority over sin, death, and eternal life. Sin and death were not the end. The cross shows his sacrifice. The resurrection shows the sacrifice was accepted and victory was won. Jesus defeated death. You have to follow what it says right back there. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Without Jesus, you are nothing. I'm gonna wrap this up, this video, and just want people to really read the Bible. Start with the New Testament, the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I sinned throughout my life. I've completely see the other side now, and I understand now. And I'm trying to tell you guys to do the same. So with that said, guys, thank you for watching. This is Sammy, aka Sam's Yanks. Please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, whatever you want to do. All right. But God bless you guys. And until next time, my next video, stay tuned. Bye.